Hey, Billy Glisson with PowerCore 360. Effortless power in the golf swing will give us distance, accuracy, and consistency. We're starting a new series. This series is called Feel It, Rep It, Practice It. We're going to take an exercise. So we're going to start with shoulder turn in the backswing today, and we're going to break it down into 3 separate divisions. The first thing we're going to do is an activation and a strength exercise called seated shoulder turn. As soon as we get done with that, we're going into what we call a feel it drill, right? It's going to be standing shoulder turn with a stick. And then at the end, we're going to talk about directly going to the course, to the practice range, wherever you can, where you need to hit balls, because you need application. You need to be able to take what you're opening up and strengthening and feeling and take it to the course and put it into application so it'll actually convert into practice, more importantly, into your playing on the course. You ready? Let's get going. Okay, let's go through our seated shoulder turn activation and strength exercise. I've already done my 5 to 7 minute warm-up, so my body temperature's up, I'm ready to go. I've got a PowerCore 360 torso harness wrapped around my shoulders here. I've got our light gray band attached to the right shoulder. I'm just gonna sit tall and I'm gonna do 4 reps, right? And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my first rep, I'm gonna turn my shoulder all the way back, as far as I can comfortably. I'm not gonna force it. I'm gonna hold it there for 6 seconds and I'm gonna breathe. As I'm doing this, I'm strengthening the muscles behind my shoulder, behind my spine, behind my hips to turn my shoulder back. Okay, that's 6 seconds. Relax for 15 seconds, let everything recover. Let's assume that's 15. My second rep, take the shoulder back. I can probably go back a little bit further this time. Once again, it's a strengthening activity. I'm holding it for 6 seconds and I'm breathing. I'm going to do 2 to 4 reps that way and call it good. I'll be ready for my next activity. Okay, immediately after I've done the shoulder turn activation and strength activity, now I'm going into my feel it drill. And so basically I have my PowerCore 360 torso harness. I have it up around my shoulder. In this case for me, I have a black band hooked to my right shoulder. And because it's hooked up behind my right shoulder, basically as I sit here in address posture, it's gonna actually turn my shoulders back. I've already turned on the muscles, so I know how to make that motion happen, but I'm getting reinforcement. I'm getting the feel from the band pulling my shoulder back to really get the feel for how I need to do this. And the next thing I'm doing is I'm actually put a stick in my hand, not a golf club, but a stick. And what I'm wanting to do here is integrate together the turn of the shoulders and the feel of something in my arms as I perform the backswing. Now remember, amateurs tend to take their hands and arms and lift up the stick. They don't get that width and they don't get that shoulder turn. We want the turn of the shoulders and the backswing to turn right. And basically what happens is we want the shoulders to turn back and we want that motion to allow us to create the width. So you notice my left arm because I turn my shoulders and basically then that throws my hands out, throws the hands and arms up and the shaft up to load, or the stick in this case. I'm wanting to feel what it feels like before I go to the golf course to know how to do this. What's the feel? What's it feel like? So I'm going to sit down into address posture and I'm just now going to turn my shoulders back. I'm going to relax my hands and arms. I want to turn my shoulders. I want to turn my core, my hips. I want to get into a good backswing position and feel what it feels like for that to create that width, and feel what it feels like then for that club shaft, the stick in this case, to go up into that position. I want to memorize the feel of this movement. Okay, one real quick thing that's really important on this swing. When I've got the shoulder harness on behind me and I'm working on the turn of my backswing and creating that width, I want to be careful that I don't throw my hands and arms too much behind the body, right? Really what I want you to think about here is if I take my hands in too quickly, right? If the typical golf swing, I want when the shaft's about hip height going backwards, that's where I want the shaft and the arms and hands to be. If I'm not careful with this drill, I can basically turn my shoulders and bring my hands too far inside. And if I do that, I'm going to have a tendency, the response, the body sling is to create an over-the-top swing, right? So I want to be careful that as I do this, that I'm not throwing my hands out there. I'm letting the turn of the body, the right shoulder turning back, but I want the stick and hands and arms to come a little bit out first, right? So I'm not coming too far inside. Okay, so now you're ready to go out on the course or on the practice range and hit balls, right? Some application. Resist what I know you want to do, which is let the big dog out and let it hunt. leave that alone. You're not ready for that. There's other steps yet besides the backswing, right? I guarantee if you go out and actually hit the driver, you're going to hit it harder. But at this point, because we haven't told you some of the other tips, some of the other pieces of the way to use the body, it's going to go further, but it's probably going further right, further left. If that's the feedback you need, that it's working, great. But there's other pieces. Spend the time now, grab your wedge. Go out and hit some 1/2 to 3/4 shots and just stay focused on not the flight of the ball, not the accuracy of the ball. Figure out what it feels like. Be aware of what it feels like to turn your shoulders back. Get that full shoulder turn, right? And then actually hit some balls. You might be hitting 40, 50, 60-yard shots max, right? Once again, you're not looking for distance right now. You're trying to apply what it feels like for your shoulders to turn fully back and let the turn of the shoulders load the club up, right? You're going to hit some thin shots. You're going to hit some fat shots. You're going to hit some balls right and left. You may actually see, it might be a little early for it, but you may actually start to see that the turn of your body actually squares the club up. Make sure you have a target, that you're hitting at a target. You may actually see that the ball's actually just going short or long of your target, but it's online. Might be a little early for that. If you need further information about the specifics of how to do these exercises or any of these drills, get a hold of me at billy@powercore360.com. Hey, if you like this video, like it down below. Consider subscribing to our channel. If you want further information about PowerCore 360, go to powercore360.com.